It's time for an update on Danilo Cavalcante, the escaped prisoner situation, referencing our astrology readings on him, an article by the Crossing Board, and the latest press conference by Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, which aired today, September 10th. Danilo appears to be exhibiting the traits of a powerful Mercury in Virgo more and more as time goes on, becoming a master of the Pennsylvania woods, a survivalist, and making intelligent choices that continue to lead to his temporal freedom. He is successfully avoiding the extreme presence of authorities, up to 600 men. In fact, though, survivalism is nothing new for Danilo Cavalcante. Just as Mercury in Virgo, in the 4th house, would suggest, back home, in Brazil, it's said Danilo already has experience living outdoors and knows what he's doing. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens said on September 6 that Cavalcante had some experience hiding and surviving in the woods from growing up in his native Brazil. Commenters on X mentioned it looks like he's holding bleach in one picture of his recent sightings posted by the police, and another mentioned he is likely using it to sanitize while living outdoors. Others held fear he is planning to make a bomb. In a mercurial fashion, it seems he is trolling with the many times he has been sighted, 10 now, yet not captured. Police state that this is him on the store security camera. It appears he's aware of the camera, and even smiling. Bivens revealed that he was attempting to speak with an old friend who was not home at the time. We find this particularly remarkable because Mercury is retrograde, and damaged by being too close to the sun in this chart. It is surprising he's eluding so successfully, for now, but we'll speak on the energies supporting his escape, soon. Thankfully, his choices appear to be mostly self-serving, as he appears not to be interested in harming others physically, more into getting away, and we hope it stays non-violent. There is more relevance to the 4th house. The 4th house relates to being underground, under the earth, and is partly why this house relates to death as well. In a press conference on September 10, Bivens implied that there are underground tunnels and drainage areas in Longwood Gardens, all which can't be completely secured, and may be how he hid from authorities to escape towards Phoenixville, and where he might have been hiding in general. In Where is Danilo, we mentioned that he may go to a place of agriculture, and where things are stored and kept. Indeed, in today's update on Danilo, he left Longwood Gardens to travel to Bailey's dairy farm closer to the prison, returning to a place he'd been before, a place southwest of the prison. The farm released a statement that he stole the van sometime in the evening while they were still in the main building working. Quite a ballsy feat. The vehicle is a utilitarian refrigerated van. Remember we mentioned he would be around where things are stored or kept, or meant to be used for utilitarian purposes. The keys had been left in the van. Venus in the 3rd house, with Venus ruling the 12th house of secrecy, showed him moving stealthily, literally, a thief in the night. Leo, the sign Venus is in, must speak of this brazen stunt to come up to their facility and nab the van. As we mentioned in another part, Venus, darkly, would end up being a boon in some ways, such as the dark gift of a van with keys in it. He would go on to abandon this van at a barn, again, a place near agriculture, and where things are kept and stored. It's said earlier this weekend, he was spotted in the Phoenixville area. This is where his family resides, as well as his ex-girlfriend's, his victim's family resides. The chart gave messages of him traveling home. Whether ideating about Brazil, or his more local home, his planet in the 4th house was a compelling argument that he'd travel home, and it appears he did, briefly. Police presence left the Phoenixville area September 10th as they do not believe he is still there. Though the main message of his location is south, and it appears he has currently traveled down from Phoenixville, somehow, south, again, Phoenixville is northeast of Chester County Prison. Our chart correlates again, with the sign Leo on the 3rd house of local travels. Leo correlates with north, tending to the east, and this must be the sign that he would go this direction at some point. It makes more sense when we observe that the planet the Sun, who rules and represents the 3rd house of local travels, is in the 4th house, family. This configuration was a solid sign that he'd travel locally, back home, for a time. Thankfully, again, he did not appear to have malicious intent, as people were worried he might be traveling back there for vengeance. We think it's very plausible that he went home for some kind of assistance. We publicly know that his sister has been arrested by ICE and going to be deported. The press inquired about his family's assistance in his escape. Bivens said,
"What's Cavalcante's family's involvement at this point? His mom was assisting you earlier, but we're now hearing that his sister's been arrested by ICE and possibly for deportation."
That is accurate.
And what is his family cooperating
Do you
still?
believe that he's getting any assistance from those family members or anyone else in this community?
As always, I'm not going to comment on what assistance he may or may not be receiving, but we take steps to try and minimize or eliminate that assistance, and that's exactly what we've done at this
Where's the
point.
focal point of the search right now?
he says we tried to eliminate any assistance, and that's what was done in regards to eliminating any assistance. So it sounds like Bivens is saying she was helping him without saying it. In our chart, the sun in Virgo says strong loyalty from Danelo's family to him, aside from his mother. Mercury joining the sun says a return to his family as well, and we aren't sure why the police didn't have a closer eye on his family, if this is all true. Ultimately, we subscribe that he will be captured. We'll make another video going into deeper detail, but in our chart, his planet, Mercury, retrograding back to the sun should show things going badly for him, and how would things go badly for him? By being captured or killed, but we believe the authorities are much more invested in returning him to prison to force him to serve his sentence, ideally. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens confirmed this in the September 10th conference. He also said, though, that deadly force was authorized if Cavalcante does not comply with surrendering. Either way, justice is that at the least, he serves his sentence for the selfish killing of Deborah Brandeo, pictured here. In our previous reading we mentioned a technique in traditional astrology that said, likely, he will be recovered in a place that people frequent. With every person he visits that he knows, he takes a risk. For example, the old acquaintance, a former co-worker he reached out to via doorbell cam, reported him to police as soon as they realized what was happening when they reviewed the footage. Another person he visited was a risk. A woman observing this attempt also reported him to police. Nevertheless, there's a compelling argument of him maintaining control over the prison he experiences. Yet, police have mobilized across the woods, and even citizens are helping. This concludes our update. We'll see how things play out.